Hey, Black Barn Social Club, God bless America. Talking boots. Really excited yesterday. Teased it, showed a couple of photos already. The Truman 56 last and Sesame double shot came in, and I'm over the moon with this boot. I'm infatuated with it. Love the color. You know, wanted to spend some time talking about it, and so in full disclosure, I went home. I came home yesterday. I went ahead and I got home early enough that I could go ahead and do an unboxing, and I went out and I started unboxing the boots, and you know, I actually recorded it. I did a lot of that stuff, and I was showing some first impressions and things like that. And then the thought hit me. The reason why I like the kind of reviews that I do, and I like to steer clear of the unboxings, is because I found myself saying things and speaking about the boots, and then I found myself coming up short. Like in other words, I was sitting there talking about how they looked, but I couldn't tell you how they felt. And I was talking about the sole of the boot, but I couldn't compare it to anything because the only boot I have like this, the 56 last anyway, is that number 8 boot. And so, and it's got, I don't know if you remember, but it's got a commando sole. So the more I talked and the more I did that unboxing, I thought, let me just stay genuine to what I do. And that is, let me go wear the things first so that I can actually speak to how I feel about the boot. And I've told you from day one, I'm not out here with micrometers. I'm not out here telling you about, the specific thickness and this and that. I'm not bandsawing anything in half. I'm just telling you how it feels on my foot. And today's going to be disappointing because I'm going to talk about a few more things that came to me over the course of wearing this boot today. Now, before I go, one more thing I like about wearing a boot maybe even before I video the unboxing, is there were a couple of things on it when I unboxed it, and within seconds, my thumbnail caught the leather, and I saw a scuff, and then I saw this, this one spot that looks like one of the machines left a print on it, and it was a little bit disheartening to see that in a boot that you've just purchased. And I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know what? That's another reason why I like wearing my boot first, because now that I've put 14 hours today in this boot, there's scuffs. I mean, there's already starting to be, there's wear, there's creases, and I have, so I guess in my simple mind, there's I'd rather go ahead and get the dirty part over with. I'd rather get it creased up, get it walked in, and just come back and talk boots rather than rather than trying to nitpick it to death on the unboxing. So that said, let's get into these boots. My handy notes here. So obviously it's a Truman 56 last, double shot. I'm an 11.5 Brannock. And those of you that are coming back, you've seen that I wear an 11.5. I'm true to size in a 79 last, but in this wider toe box, I do go ahead and shorten it down to the 11 that Truman recommends. This is a structured toe. This is their cap toe style, Eugene black sole, and Goodyear welted. 270 degree Goodyear welt according to their website. The 6-ounce leather from Seidel. The color. I know I teased this on the other on some of the photos. I mean, the color is almost identical to me. I mean, I know some trained eyes can probably pick out some differences. I'll probably say one, the natural cypress of this boot is a little bit less. Yesterday I was trying to say it had more of a matte finish, and right now under the lights I can't really even distinguish the difference there. But it's such a gorgeous caramel color. The difference that I see in the double shot, in the Sesame double shot, has less to do with the color of the boot. Now, keep in mind, this is a Horween tannery boot over here, the natural cypress. This is side L. I think the thing that I noticed different, and not so much the tone of the color, but it's the refinement of the leather. I want to say the double shot is I think that's why they call it the double shot. I think it's hit twice in the tanning process, so it's plump, it's refined, it's smoother, it's more of a buttery feel, and natural. Just right out of the gate, it's a softer, more supple leather, and yesterday now, and here's the thing. Again, I'm as I was coming home today, I stopped and took my son to his tennis match, and so I was walking around the park, and I was just kind of, again, I was thinking about how I would describe this boot. I'm going to describe it today differently than I was yesterday during the unboxing, and that's another reason why I think it's just good to walk in these boots before I try to tell you anything about them. I started to say that, I mean, this is a softer leather. So yesterday I was claiming how, the break-in's naturally going to be easier. And I don't think I'm changing my mind on that, but I am discovering something about my own feet. So for that reason, I'm going to say something here that I'm probably going to regret and at some point. But we have talked about, and there's this, we get, it's funny how we all, you say it like this. You ever think about, like when you're talking about a woman being attractive, you can look at someone, and you can say, my gosh, that is a beautiful woman. That is a beautiful boot. That is a beautiful this. That is a gorgeous that. That's a beautiful car. You can do that. And if all you know is what you see, or the thing that stimulates you, if it scratches that itch, if that's all you know, then that's all you know. And that's what you're basing that statement on. But you ever met somebody that is a strikingly beautiful woman, and I'm making this person up, so there's no ill will. But you ever met somebody that's strikingly gorgeous, and you would think, man, what a beautiful person, and then they open their mouth, and they maybe they're rude, maybe they're obnoxious, maybe they mistreat people, and you start to see who they are. And you go, man, it just killed it. It killed the look. It killed the excitement of it. Or if you put that in car terms, you in your mind you think, man, that's my grail car. I'd love to have, that such and such car. But then you realize that to own that car, the cost of ownership of that car is so difficult to work on, or so expensive to work on, that it takes all the fun out of the car. This is what I'm going to say about the 56 Last. Or the 79 Last. Or anybody. The important part about Last, and we have beat this horse to death, but everybody's foot is different. And so I can look at this boot, and I can say, my God, this is a beautiful boot. I love the fact that it's got this low volume, low profile, sleek toe. I love the fact that they were cognizantly, they were aware enough to give you more room in the toe box. I love that. I love that it's got that tight grip on your heel. I love that it's a narrow waisted boot. You feel that. I mean, two-dimensionally, looking at the shape of this, looking at I just put another thumbnail scratch on there. Two-dimensionally, I mean, this is a gorgeous boot. Visually, I mean, it's a stunning color. I mean, this color is amazing. And my problem with this boot is the low profile two-dimensional or the three-dimensional shape of the boot. The shape as it comes off the last, off the footbed. This low volume right here, it drove me nuts today. It drove me nuts so badly that I was staring at my feet up at the tennis courts. I was staring at my feet thinking, how weird would it be if I took these off? I mean, I was genuinely experiencing just that, I mean, and I know we've all felt that break-in discomfort where I was going, I have sized wrong, I have done something wrong, and I'm looking at I'm inspecting my foot, and again, I know I'm not the only one, but I keep looking at it going, what in the world? But I was so constricted right across the top between these two, where the quarters come up, right between those two spots. I kept thinking in my mind, and I was feeling it. I was going, God, did I? And by the way, I wore a thin sock because I did size down. So it's not my typical, I tried to put too much sock into a boot. Here's my issue. I think I tried to put too much foot into a boot. So I come home today and I'm disappointed because I don't remember the last pair being, I don't want to say painful, but so uncomfortable. I don't remember the last pair of 56 last boots that I got. I don't remember feeling that way in them. So my plan was to wear them tomorrow, the other pair, and see if there was just some small sizing difference, or just see if I overlooked it that day. I mean, time changes, and I mean, like my foot hasn't changed in a couple of weeks, I don't think, but maybe I was just high on life that day and I was ignoring it. But today I couldn't ignore it, and that's what frustrated me, is both of my feet were so cramped. Now mind you, not side to side, not the toe push, not big toe. I mean, there's plenty of room for that. Not at the front. I mean, I had I've got a full inch across the front of this boot. Even at an 11, I've got a full inch across the front of the boot. It was the lack of height on this last that was hurting me. And so I got home and I started looking up terms because I remembered some stuff that, and if we're gonna talk about boots and we're gonna talk about all of us being different, and I keep hearing, we're gonna have to roll up sleeves, fellas. I keep hearing, this is, doing this to my foot, and this does that to my foot, and this is the perfect one, and that's the bad one. I'm just, I'm more so reminded that you have to go out there and experience several things so that you can actually know what works for you. They used to call my dad. Now, so you guys don't know this about me, but my dad died when I was 12. And I was, from that point forward, my uncles took me in. My mom had like 5 brothers. And so a lot of the stories that I would hear about my dad was my uncles talking, about him, and they would just kind of fill me in about what he was like, and because they all kind of grew up, and once my mom started dating him, they all kind of grew up together, at a young age. But they always, they would say stuff to him, and I remember one of the things they always said he was a flat-footed sap sucker. And for the longest time, I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea why the word flat-footed was a derogatory slang, or why they would bust his chops about it. But that stuck with me. And I noticed that as my brother and I grew up, I would hear people say things like, your brother's got the same flat feet your dad had. Now, so there's 2 things you can talk about when you say flat-footed. One is just the actual, the reality that you have a flat step. Your foot, there's no high instep, there's no high arch. Your foot just sits flatter. And then there's people that have like a medium arch. And arch is keep in mind, arch is it's the arch of your foot. So you got the ball of your heel, you got the balls right of your toe. Arch is that. It's just what it sounds like. It's the arch. Instep is the height of your foot. So it's how, like think bone structure of how steep the bones climb to your ankle. So I'm thinking about that today, and I'm thinking, maybe I'm not as flat-footed as my brother. Maybe I'm not as flat-footed as my dad. I'm not going into the derogatory terms of flat-footed. That's, I'm sure that means a lot of other things, but in reality, both my dad and my brother had flat feet. So finding shoes to fit them was different than somebody with a normal arch, or somebody even with a high arch. And so I wouldn't consider myself to have a high arch, but I think after trying to wear these all day, I think I absolutely have a high instep. And what made me realize that, what made me realize that is I got home and I go in there, and the first thing I wanted to do was get these things off. Genuinely, I could not wait to get them off. I still felt the impression of this portion of the boot, the indentation, into my feet, into the tops of both my feet. So it wasn't one foot swelling. Could have been both feet swelling, but I don't really have a foot swelling problem. But I could just feel this line across here where it had just sunk into my foot for so long. I went and I got which ones am I wearing now? I'm wearing the olive waxed 79 last. I put those dudes on, and I might as well have been putting on a slipper. Just like a house slipper, like a moccasin. The minute I put the 79s on, my feet were okay. My feet were able to breathe. It was like I was wearing tennis shoes. It just comfortable house slippers. And so then I came in and I got the 79 last. And I started thinking, of all the complaints, people talk about toe push here and toe push here and the almond shape versus the more rounded linear shape versus the wider toe box. And I'm just still reminded that we have more than two dimensions on our feet we have to take into consideration. So when I look at the 79 last, what I see ample room in the toe box. I've got enough room for my feet in the toe box. But what you've got different in these two boots, let me make sure I'm showing you the same angle of both boots. My mind cannot comprehend this. What I see here is there is more room at the instep, at the top of the foot on the 79 last. So I'm going to hold them up again, but I want to point to it and show you right here, this area where it leaves the toe bed, or this toe box, and goes up. It's the difference between let me get them side by side here. You can see the difference. There's quite a bit more volume in this boot. So, if this is like I said, if this is a 8-foot roof, this is a vaulted ceiling. Maybe not vaulted ceiling, but at least a 9-foot ceiling. And maybe that's all it takes to make me feel more comfortable. But wearing these 79 last makes it gives me all the room in the world for my feet to do what they do. So here I am saying, man, this is like that woman we talked about. What a sexy woman. But when I put it on, when she opens her mouth, it did not work for me today. So I'm heartbroken, and I'm gonna leave it at this. We're 21 minutes, 20-ish minutes in, and again we're hanging out. So I want some opinions. Will this stretch? Will this break in? somebody that has maybe dealt with the same problem, can I condition it a little bit and see if it'll, and then just, can I expect a break-in to be better, in that? And if it does, I mean, then, maybe if it stretches and it'll break into me, then it'll fit like a glove and I'll be tickled to death. Because, I mean, again, it's a beautiful boot. I do like the lower profile here. And I don't notice, I mean, to be honest, I feel like that my feet have enough room in here. I don't feel it rubbing the top of my toes or anything. It's just in this one spot where the instep of my foot starts. I mean, I've just got, the bone structure. It's just taller. There's more volume in my foot than I think that this boot has. So tell me if you guys think this will break in better, or tell me if I'm pissing up a rope and I need to put those on eBay and move them along. You guys be blessed. I don't know. I wished I was more professional. Some of you guys do such a good job, and you inspire me to keep doing this. And I think I tend to get in there and redneck it up, and I just talk about. I mean, I'm doing what I do. I'm just talking, and we're just a bunch of dudes hanging out talking about stuff that we like. So, again, I appreciate you guys. This was a big week for me, at least over on the other channel. And we're growing here too, so I'm excited for this. But on the other channel, we hit 10,000 followers, and that was just an awesome week. So I'm still humbled, and I'm appreciative of every one of you guys hanging out with me and letting us connect and build this community. You guys be blessed. Talk soon.